All right. Good evening. How are you guys doing? I got Neindorf with me tonight. Neindorf, what's going on?
Good evening, everyone.
All right. And I have Guy Kid. How you doing, Guy Kid?
Doing well, Raph.
All right. Well, cool. We have a easy breezy, nice little fireside chat planned for tonight. Well, really, we don't have a lot planned for tonight, so I'm gonna hit the start recording button, so we can make this a podcast episode as well. And I don't know, how do you guys feel about? Well, can you hear the? No, you can never hear the intro music. I'll play the intro music just for our podcast listeners at home. It's only 10 seconds, so here we go. Yeah, I need to figure out how to make it so you guys can hear that too, because it always gets me jazzed up and ready to go. Well, here we are. Where today is March 25th. We are a few days away from Crystal Vale. Um, Neindorf, what are your thoughts right now?
Yeah, my thoughts are, A, there's so much content to go through, first of all. And I think for me personally, I'm getting more and more excited about these pets. All these eggs are really starting to burn a hole in my pocket.
Well,
The jewel, too, I suppose.
you're up to two, 3 dozen eggs at this point.
Yeah,
You're
I
you're
wish.
farming over here.
I'm sitting on 12, which is a pretty good pile.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's that's exciting, and with all the pet news at the AVAC summit, seeing the new avatars for the pets definitely has me feeling like I need a fox or a panda. Those are looking pretty cool. How about you, Guy Kid?
My super boring if I just want a dog. Like
No.
that Labrador Retriever looks pretty sweet.
Oh,
But
yeah, super
AVAC
cute.
Summit was awesome. Frisky and Dreamer just they just went on stage and I thought it was gonna be a pretty routine, like, hey, we're DFK, here's what we do. And they went off for the 30 minutes they were on stage and it was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I tried to catch the live stream, and that was pretty laggy. And then I caught the notes, and then started listening to the podcast that you just released this morning from last night. Go ahead and give us a little shout out. I really appreciate the breakdown and the content.
Yeah, so I do a Boxside Chats, basically YouTube channel with C9N, Matty Pesk, and Franz, and we were just basically breaking down everything that was happening with AVAX. We went through the slide deck that Frisky and Dreamer put together, and then we just really probably spent a good 20 minutes just mourning over the tavern market because the hero prices are absolutely brutal right now.
Brutal for selling, and a little tempting for buying. That's where I'm at the moment. I'm like, the last day I've been like, Neindorf, tell me this is a bad idea. And then I send him a different hero every time. And he tries his best to tell me they're a bad idea. But I just keep coming back to it. So I don't know. I've been able to refrain. Okay, so the one item that we wanted to go through on our planned content today is breaking down the new access system to the website. So Neindorf has been in the lab developing this, and we just want to give an explanation to our listeners out there who are using the paid content and supporting us with their hard-earned jewel. Want to make sure they understand what's coming at them, and what the next series of events is, and then we're gonna open it up to chat questions. And so, listeners out there, you're welcome to throw questions our way on YouTube, or we're just in the general chat over on Discord. So you're welcome to jump in there. We just ask that you jump on mute right away, and then when we're taking questions, you can go ahead and unmute yourself at that point in time and ask away. So first thing, we'll go to the website page. And so what I'm going to be bringing up here is the account page. Let me switch over on OBS. Oh, I need to reload. Okay, so on the account page, which is not available to everyone right now, it'll be in the top right-hand side of your screen, in the light blue banner, and in that section of the page, we have kind of like a few different areas for you to look at that are new. We have the Discord handle if you're signed up for Discord alerts. And then we have the next section is registering your Harmony wallet address. And we're not asking for your password, not asking for your private keys. This is your public wallet address, and this is how we link the payment that you will make in MetaMask to the account that you have set up on the website. So, real clever way by Neindorf to make this viable. Neindorf, you want to kind of comment on why you chose this route for a payment system?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think for starters, it's a good jumping point to kind of getting it into just the blockchain data and not having to go through Discord messaging and sending links. So that was the first requirement really for this change in system is we kind of wanted to get it a little more automated so that people didn't have to wait around for you or I to answer our Discord messages. And we do our best to keep up, but this is a little better for our users. And then secondly, I chose not to go with direct MetaMask integration. Um, Sort of out of simplicity, but really more along the lines of me personally, I sometimes am not as trusting of a random website when it wants you to say connect to wallet. I get a little hesitant, right? So at the moment, we're not really connecting to your wallet at all. We're literally just having you tell us what your wallet is, and that way we can scan the site's address, and whenever there's a Jewel transfer into the site's address, we look at who it came from, and then we go search our database and be like, ooh, I found, you know, maybe it was, say, Guy Kid decided he wanted to send some Jewel in and add no more time. And then I can go in and credit his account the amount of time based on how much Jewel he deposited. So it's purely based on watching data on chain this way, and there's actually no direct interaction with your wallet. So that's kind of my spiel, I guess. In the future, for simplicity, if people start to trust the site a little bit more, maybe we'll add a connect button, but we'll see how it goes. And people, by the way, feel free to shoot suggestions or comments into our Discord or DM us. We're always looking to improve everything. So fire away.
Yeah, thank you for that and the development as well. So let me go through quick kind of the timeline of important events for everyone. And I posted this on the website general tab and Discord as well. But last week we turned off the Anchor payment system. We wanted to make sure we gave our paid subscribers, I would say, almost a benefit in the meantime while we're going through this development, to make sure that everyone gets their feet set and they don't feel like this is a rug. And then by it'll probably actually be April 1st instead of May 1st. We're going to be turning on the account page, and so people who are not subscribers to Anchor, and so new subscribers, would be able to start accessing the website and gaining access to that paid content. New users are going to continue to get free access from the Anchor payments that they made, prior to the third week in March. And then June 1st is that big date for all of our historical paid subscribers. We're going to be, actually making a switch over on the website. And so June 1st is that big date for you to keep in mind, is that we'll need a Jewel transaction at that point in time to gain access to the system. So that's kind of a breakdown of the dates coming your way. And hopefully that gives our folks, enough time to prepare and reset themselves. Any other questions or topics on that you guys could think of that we need to go through?
I think that covers it for me. I think absolutely. If anybody's got questions, let us know. If it's unclear, we'll try to get the documentation on the site, maybe update it a little bit. You put together a YouTube video with the instructions on walking through. I think we'll post that too, right? And that's
Yep.
A nice video. It really walks you through exactly what you got to do.
Yeah, it hopefully makes it as straightforward and as easy as possible. All right, well, let's get to the main event here. Let's start asking some questions. Um, let's see. How about this? Guy Kid, go ahead and give us maybe. I'm putting you on the spot here. So let's have you give us, maybe one question that you're looking for either the community that's on Discord right now to answer, or someone on YouTube to shout an answer to. What's kind of a burning question for you as we're starting to approach Crystal Vale?
One of the big things I'm trying to figure out with Crystal Vale is what's going to happen to the existing Serendale Gardens. And Franz just keeps yelling at me saying this isn't something you can really speculate and plan for, but I think it's going to drastically change the APRs that are in the Serendale Gardens and is going to determine what the APRs in the Crystal Vale Gardens are. So, a question I have for kind of everyone listening in is what percentage of the Serendale Gardens do you think will move to the Crystal Vale Gardens?
Ooh, that's a good question. I've kind of been tracking this a little on the side, and I've noticed already. I'll thank all of you DFK members who've pulled your money out of the gardens already. I really appreciate that because the garden percent for Jewel One has gone from 250 up to about 319 right now.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think it's peaked
annual
at
percent.
320, right?
Yeah, so I mean, it's already boosting, and I think it'll be interesting to see where the APRs start at, and that's where it's like I think to your point, it might be almost impossible to predict, but I think if we watch the trend in Jewel One, I think you're gonna have a fairly decent answer, because it also important to remember is that are we at the 4 or is it 8 jewel per block? I forget release
I'm pretty sure we're
relative
at
to.
8.
Is it? Yeah, I think you're right. And so obviously Crystal's going to start up the rung a bunch.
Yeah,
But it
and
isn't
Crystal's starting at 32.
32,
So
right? So yeah, you got
it's
that
4x what the
4x.
current emissions are, right?
So if a quarter of the value moves from the one garden into the other, it shouldn't, I mean, you kind of like level loaded. But I could see some people moving half or all of their stake over, in which case I think it's going to actually swing that it might be just as beneficial to hold tight. I don't know, that's what I've been personally thinking.
That's what I've been thinking too. And also like it's playing into, and I'm probably complicating the game of checkers here a little bit, but one of the things that I've been thinking about is leaving my gardens alone for a really long time and letting those unlock percentages start to work in my favor. And when we hit, because that unlock percentage is going to switch, is it like July 1st or something is the estimated epoch date when it becomes a zero locked and 100% unlocked, I think. Is that right, guys?
That sounds right, given the
Yeah, given
variability,
given
of
the
course.
current speed of block ratios. Well, what I'm kind of planning on doing is actually not hitting the claim button. And I started this a few weeks ago. And, I'm up to a few jewel right
Yeah.
now. And at some point, and I might even, get excited and pull the trigger a little too soon. But I'm going to watch the price of jewel as we're starting to get close to that date. And, even if I walk it down to, the 10% locked rate, I'm going to hit the claim button. And then I'm going to, probably transfer all of that. Not financial advice here. I'm probably going to personally transfer that out of the game, but that's just because at this moment in my life, I'm looking to make some real life purchases go on. So that's kind of my plan, and I'm still going to be playing the game with all of my heroes. That's just a small exit ramp for me for some of the investments that I'm making right now in the gardens. So I'm thinking, because if I move my garden funds right now, it screws up that whole plan, and I have a little bit of garden time under my belt at the moment. So that's what I got going on.
That's a good point. I mean, bringing up the idea of locked versus unlocked is actually huge because we're getting pretty close to 60% unlocked. And I mean, the rewards for Crystal Vale will probably be higher up front, but it's going to be almost completely locked. And that's fine. but you are also you just don't have as many options, right, with your earnings, honestly. And so, it's one of those things I think everybody needs to really consider. If it's something that this is value that they don't need to extract in the next year, absolutely, then I think the locked makes sense. I mean, this team is doing things that no other team is doing. I think we're all still super bullish on this game as a whole. And so I think, it kind of depends on each of us personally where we sit and what our goals are. And I think, yeah, you kind of laid out your goals. I think that's great. I mean, that's the stuff that we got to be thinking about here.
Yeah, I encourage kind of everyone to think through, are you playing this for fun or are you playing for keeps? And always kind of keeping that in the back of your mind. All right. Well, going over to the YouTube chat, one of the first questions that popped up, JHW3D said, "Need a good hero of the day." Haha.
Ooh,
Guy Kid threw one out there, 41365, and I threw one out there, 141902. Please buy 141902 so you can protect me from myself. Um, Guy Kid, do you want to give us who's your hero out there that you're looking at?
Yeah, if you pull them up, it's gonna be pretty obvious. We kind of make fun of C9N in our group because he's obsessed with the stat of luck. He's like all luck all the time. But
nice.
if you look at stats, like no one's great at luck right now. So when it comes to land tournaments, if you find a hero with purple luck, they could actually have a significant advantage over a lot of other heroes. And if you're someone that's been thinking forward enough that you've been focusing on luck the entire time, you might have a great advantage over. He's not actually on the market. I just went to catalog.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I'm looking
nice.
at it right now.
Yeah.
31 luck. Woo,
Yeah, he's got
Wow.
31 luck. He's a
beast.
ninja with purple luck. So if this guy just keeps as his primary boost keeps boosting luck every step along the way, he's gonna be the front runner for that luck land tournament.
Yeah,
Man, like crit hits and stuff. That's gonna be a beast.
I like it.
Yeah,
I'm
it's got
actually a
22
believer in
agility
luck
too, which
too.
is no joke.
Yeah, yeah, 22 agility is not bad at all. All right, cool. And so the next guy that I had listed, please someone from our Discord take him. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to take him tonight. He's a legendary priest for 157 jewel. Been through the perilous journey, and he's got a really wild. Bringing him up right now. A really good wisdom and intelligence stat for level 2. So let's see. Did someone grab him?
Someone did you a favor? No way.
Someone just did me a favor. I appreciate it. I really do. I need to save this jewel and find an exit strategy here. So the next guy, I was looking at and texted Neindorf earlier. Braxton Heartstar Wizard, level 1, 170 jewel, and he has 17 wisdom for a level 1. Has not gone
Wow.
through the perilous journey. That's a pretty good starting point. So that I would say is the next one for sure. All right, so let's jump over here onto YouTube and grab the next question. Um, is the APR boost coming from people pulling out of the jewel pumping or jewel pumping from LG Boy? The APR boost would be coming from people pulling out of the gardens. I guess it would be from the price of jewel going up as well, because the
So
emissions of jewel stays the same, right, Neindorf?
correct. Yeah. So it's all about the emissions. Since the emissions are constant in this like couple month period, yeah, the only way that APR really goes up is if there's less jewel in the gardens, less jewel one in the gardens, say. So that those, what is it, 8 jewel per block are split amongst fewer wallets. So yeah, definitely. And that's kind of like what we were talking about, where I think, I'm noticing, my rare summoner, he's pulling in over a jewel in gardening in a 28 stamina block. So that never used to happen. He was lucky if he got like 0.75. So like I said, thank you, listeners, for withdrawing your money from the gardens because I'm really appreciating it.
Nice, nice. All right, so next question. Next Mike says, doesn't make sense in my opinion to miss on the first week of X Jewel and Jewel pair. 0% impermanent loss, and you get the full benefit of the Jewel pump. What are your thoughts?
Look,
Um,
we should bring him on too after as a response. I see
yeah,
we've got him on our voice channel.
yeah. Oh, awesome. Thank you. I'm watching YouTube right now. So yeah, next Mike, go ahead and give us the color commentary behind your question there. What are you thinking about? Why'd you ask this? And I guess what's your strategy right now?
Okay, for sure. Hey guys, thanks for having me on. Um, yeah, everybody's just been strategizing on what's the best way to enter Crystal Vale, and it seems like you guys are on one side of it where which might be the right direction. Everybody else is like kind of aping into Crystal Vale, which myself included. Earlier in the chat, I said I'm basically pulling out 100%. I've already pulled out of the garden, so you're welcome, Nindorf. Got you. I'm sitting
Nice.
100% in X Jewel right now, and I plan to take it all over first day, first hour if I can. Right, I've never been in a project so early, so I'm super excited. I've kind of asked some whales what they thought about the returns would be, and of course, we're kind of getting those answers. Yeah, NFA, we're not sure. This is new. There's a lot more people, right? But the fact, the move that they pulled, giving us X Jewel and Jewel to stake on at least the first week before the LPs open, right? Before um, Crystal and Avax
Right.
and Jewel and Crystal. Like to me, there's no risk of LP there, right? And I could be wrong, so that's why I was asking the question. Is there or IP, excuse me, is there any risk of impermanent loss with X Jewel? I don't think there is, right? So to me, you're getting the highest emissions day one, hour one, you know, pretty low risk. Jewel could be pumping, $10, $15, speculatively, of course. So I don't see why anyone would want to miss that and stay in the Sarandale Gardens, right? Even if those percents go back up to 500%, right? Uh, that's about it. What are your thoughts?
I think I'm hypothesizing here, and this is just from what I'm guesstimating and some of the numbers I've run. I think you're going to see it at like 1,000% in Crystal, and I think you're probably going to. I don't think you're going to. I don't know. You might see 500 in Sarandale. I don't know that you will though. I think I would kind of expect it to play out as a four times. Honestly, if you think about it logically, that kind of makes sense. The emissions are 4x, and I think people are going to arbitrage it. I think you're going to see people swinging left and right. Um, the problem with the gardens, if you swing left and right, those fees can start to get you. So I think you might be onto something with the impermanent loss, though. I hadn't really considered that. It's basically jewel and jewel. So what is there to really lose? And I don't think that the minuscule amount that X Jewel will go up relative to Jewel in that short a time does really anything if you're talking 1,000% APY. So I
Right.
totally hear you. I think you're probably right. I think there are more returns to be made in Crystal Vale, but I'll caveat that with there's more locked returns to be made. And
Right.
so that's the big delta in my opinion.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree. I think that's the great equalizer. Sorry, I cut you off.
yeah, I'm saying the exact same thing that you are. Are you in this game for the next 18 months, or are you in this game for the next 6 months?
Yeah, and even more than that too, like if you liquidate your jewel for like say you're mining your jewel rather you're out of your locked balance, that doesn't mean that you're even leaving the game necessarily. Now I have that available to buy heroes or maybe to buy land, right? I mean, so that's the next thing is I might have this massive bag of locked crystal, but that's not going to help me buy land. So that's kind of the part that that's where I'm struggling a little bit. I want to see those 4x or maybe even larger APRs, but I also want liquid funds so that I can make these purchases. And as we were joking earlier, the alert system doesn't necessarily help me stay attached with my jewel, but that's fine too.
Yeah. All right. So we got another question here from James Babineau. Am I too late to get into this game? Question mark. What's my most profitable move? Wow. That's a great question, and we probably have to caveat that entirely with not financial advice. Um, but maybe I'll. I think a lot depends on perhaps what size bag are you coming into the game with, and I think this is a game where they've made it very clear that they are a pay to earn and a play to earn at the same time. Where the more you bring in, they try to make the rewards more valuable for you. But with that said, I think this game can cater to a very wide audience in terms of the investment level of what you want to look at. With something like a Crystal Veil launching really soon, I think I would take a chance on the Gardens first of all. When I have friends who think about joining the game, and I haven't had anyone start from scratch. I think Neindorf, you have a guy that you're trying to get into right now. I'm actually
Yep.
encouraging people to not buy heroes and to just do gardens, and to kind of watch the tavern for deals out there first, and to not just jump in on the heroes right away, because that ragweed that does not ROI your hero very fast. And your chances when you have one hero of getting an egg or something significant like that are pretty low. So that's just my thought. Neindorf, you got a buddy that's trying to get in. What are you telling him?
Yeah, I think it's very similar. I think I was kind of a little on the exact same lines, except for I think I said, if you're gonna get in with if it's like under $1,000, and I'll say dollars instead of jewel, I think you're right. It's really close as far as buying a hero. I think you'd have to think long and hard, and find that really solid deal. Now, that being said, there are some deals now with hero prices,
Right.
but I think you're right. I think, spend some time in the gardens, get some of that return, and then use that to purchase that first hero. I think that's the play.
I'm curious to hear from both of you because I know you've had a lot of success with summoning as well as like you have your Gen Zero. Have you ever looked back as to how much money you've spent on heroes and if all of that went into the gardens, if you would be better or worse?
Oh, you know,
Um, that's a
I
great
think
question.
I think given, we bought our first Gen Zero quite a while ago when the gardens were still really juicy, and I don't think we really realized how much it was. Um, but that being said, though, you get a lot of good returns. Say you roll one, legendary or mythic summon though, and that could, that offsets a decent amount of time in the gardens. But if you don't roll it, you're definitely on the other side of it. So I feel like I've gone like stretches where it's been like 2 months where my summons were kind of all rare or below, and it was like painful, and it was like barely eking out profit. And then you roll that legendary or mythic, and then you're like, okay, I forgot all about those other 2 months. So I think you're right. I really need to sit down and calculate it. I haven't done that, and I kind of haven't done that intentionally because I think I'd be sad.
What's the
Fair.
website that just closed down? Or maybe not just closed
Yeah,
down, but
TFK tracker.
yeah, DFK Tracker. They
Yep.
had that feature where they would say how much you spent on summoning. I remember
Oh,
I
it was
did look at that, and
beautiful.
it made me a
It's
little
all
sick to my stomach. It was a big number. I think that I have a strong feeling that especially when you're playing pretty low percentages on with the summoning strategy, and it got a lot worse as last year went on, towards the end of the year. At the couple months right after Gen Zero's released, I mean, you were guaranteed profit every time you summoned, and that just as the hero population grew, that was not the case anymore. I have a strong feeling that I probably would have been better off putting all of those dollars straight into the gardens and then just letting them sit there or compounding that interest. Um, but I think the one thing that's hard to kind of underplay is, in a lot of situations where I had heroes, I felt like I tried to do a lot of selling up, where you started out with a Gen 0, you make Gen 1s, and then you try to make advanced classes, and then you're selling those. And so it's also kind of hard to say, if I would have had all of the financial gains, because a lot of my gains did come out of, selling those advanced classes earlier on. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and early on, I kind of made the decision of, all right, I'm gonna go like say 30% gardens and 70% heroes, with the idea of the heroes I summon, I'm going to pretty much immediately flip. Um, and I've been doing the Gen One, the buy the Gen One 10 out of 10 strategy, and I've been pretty consistently making about 200 jewel pair, which has been pretty well. That if you look at the total return of the gardens, the return of the gardens is better. But I think in my hero summoning, I'm having fun playing the game, even if it's just summoning at this point. And
No
then
doubt.
B, all of the returns I'm getting from my summoning is unlocked as well. So I think my unlocked gardens is less than the profit of my summoning.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good point. I hadn't considered that. Yeah, it is all unlocked. And yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. It's fun and it is addicting too, honestly.
Yeah, it sure is. All right, so for the next question, I'm going to throw it out to a special guest here in Discord chat, and we're putting you on the spot, Top Flight. And so, first off, I want to give a huge shout out and thanks to Top Flight. He helped Neindorf and I with some of our branding recently, and so if you've looked on the YouTube channel, on the website, on Discord, I have not updated the overlay, the OBS overlay that you're looking at right now on the video. But all of these amazing images are coming from him and his graphics team. So thank you, Top Flight, for that. And any questions or knowledge nuggets that you want to drop on us tonight?
Not a problem. Thank you for having me, and I appreciate you letting me take the mic here for a second. It's great getting to know you guys over the past couple of weeks. So, as I've said before, you guys are probably one of the few and far between within the community's analytics reports tools. Your page is on other pages as resources, so it's no problem. You guys do us a great service with that, so we appreciate that. Um, but I did have a question. I mean, just to get off of the gardens and I guess more lighthearted. You guys know me by now, but for those of you who don't, I'm a pretty outgoing person. I like to talk and throw ideas out there, and see if the spark can get caught. And being a people person, I'm really kind of just curious to see the lay of the land in terms of like the player base, geographically, and how that would potentially go into a combat PvP leaderboard. Because I come from a competitive video game background where I've been to MLG events or LAN events, blah blah blah. Shooters, I played RPGs, classic, all that stuff. So I really do like that immersiveness within potential immersiveness within the combat. So what do you guys think about having a breakdown per population within a leaderboard? Do you think there's going to be a leaderboard? Has there been anything in regards to the combat that you've recently kind of found out, or that you can give us insight to?
Now, let me ask a clarifying question. Are you asking if you think there will be like leaderboards based around real life geographical regions like European or North American or
I mean, that's how it is
okay.
usually
Right,
with
right.
most of our, like, you look at Call of Duty or whatever games are on a pro circuit, quote unquote. So they break it down by either North America, Europe, Asia, just your server, which one you ping from.
Yeah.
However, that doesn't work. It's not pinging from a server per se for this game specifically, but I just think it would be a cool feature because every game that I've played, there's always been people that have made it big off of playing the leaderboard.
Yeah.
Most kills, most, whatever it may be within this combat system that's to come. So
Biggest attack, like single blow attack of just
yeah,
pound and hit
exactly.
for 1,000 damage or whatever.
Longest range,
Yeah.
like longest range attack. So
Yeah,
it's
I actually think that that would be pretty cool. I never thought of that. I've always thought of, geographical regions being in game and potentially that affecting the leaderboard. Um, but one of the things coming from like a competitive gaming background as well that I think is always interesting with having an international set of regions is that it feels like many different international regions developed their own metagame. And I think that could be really healthy for this game, to allow different regions. And it doesn't necessarily have to be geographic regions, but I could see a lot of very diverse metagames forming out of, subset groups of this overall game. I mean, when you're talking 3 heroes and a skill tree with, some finite number of different skill options, I think this game is going to be very much a chess style game where you're thinking of counters, next counter to the counter move to the counter move, and
right.
trying to plan those out. And I think that's where some really neat metagames will evolve. And you might have like a East Asian meta environment where they really favor using a paladin, and you might have a North American meta environment where they favor using a pirate or something like
Exactly.
that. And
So
I think
you're on
that
the
would be
same
really cool.
page.
Yeah,
100%, 100%. Where you play a game. The European teams go like on the left side. They go to the A bomb site instead of the B
right.
bomb site, where the North American traditionally players go. So
Well,
I mean,
to go full meta level even, rather than North America and Asia, do you go to the regions that are in the land? Do you start kind of creating your Adeline? I've got the view all land pulled up, and like you got the Haywood group and you got the Riverhold group, and uh, are you gonna have to
Guild
like
based.
quote unquote stake your heroes to a guild in a region that you're now gonna compete for tournaments within this region and try to be champion of that region to compete for to be
Hmm.
champion of the entire
hey,
kingdom?
or if we
Interesting.
talked about the region and like those three subset stats on the card, um, in regards to the perilous journey, that was just more of a ha ha, but
Yeah, no doubt.
it could play into consideration here with what Guy just said.
Yeah, desert
And I think
urchin.
that's what
Yeah.
they're trying to capture, right? Like they've announced like the leaderboard mechanic in game for
Hmm.
giving out rewards. So I feel like they 100% as devs agree that that is one of the, I would say, like one of the marquee elements of a healthy game is establishing that leaderboard and making it actually have value to people that play to be on it. It's not just like, you employee of the month and you get to park up front, right? No, no, this is like no crap bragging rights. Like I made it on there, like I have a legit stake, and people will see that and recognize it. So I love to see that coming out from the devs themselves. I feel like they have a good strategy when it comes to they want the community to do a lot on its own, but I think they select very like with a scalpel. Like I want this has to be in game to be healthy. And so I really think that they're choosing wisely when it comes to including the leaderboard into the game to make sure it's done right and that they have some control. I'm actually okay with that. I think there could be external leaderboards too. That being said, it doesn't all have to be exactly in game. So and the community might
Agreed.
come up with things, more grants maybe even. But that's kind of where I'm at.
I think the leaderboards are where the profit's going to be in the future. Eventually the gardens are going to, or I should say, the APRs from conventional farming is going to dry up, and it's going to be more like profession based. And I think rewards are going to really come from the combat system. I think that's a really long play of this game is you need a very healthy combat meta and a reward system for combat in order to get a wide range of people playing and staying in it long term. All right,
Agreed.
cool.
Well,
So,
thank you for having me.
yeah, thanks, Top
Yeah,
Flight.
absolutely.
All right, awesome question. And scrolling through YouTube, going up to see what other questions we have on here. Remember, we are on Discord right now on the general voice chat, and so if you want to ask a question, you're also welcome to join us there. All right, so we had Ryan Time Strategy said, thoughts on Storybook Brawl getting acquired by FTX. I think the Hero Duels format that they quickly previewed could eventually be built to be some sort of auto battler. Any thoughts on that, guys? I don't personally know what Storybook Brawl is, or them being acquired by FTX. So I'm a little in the dark on this, but I'm hoping maybe one of you guys might know.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I'd have to do a little research ahead of time. I'm not really prepared on that one.
Well,
Yeah,
Ryan,
likewise.
you stumped us.
I don't go outside the DFK ecosystem all that
There's
much.
another game.
That's been my problem with the success of DFK. Is I've stopped playing all other
Do
games.
become a little obsessive, yeah. Yeah. So they did talk. They did. So I think the second part of his question was like the hero duels, and I saw that there was some images of showing two cards against each other on the table. Is that going to be like the stat duels, or is that going to be some other kind of duel? What are your guys' thoughts on that?
I think for starters, it will be the stat duel for sure. Because I mean, they've made it pretty clear they want to use that as their entry into combat in order to test out their systems and to test out, how it all starts to shake out. So I think for sure that's where we start. Now, is that where it ends? I highly doubt it. But is that going to stay around? There might be. I could see them having uh, like holiday events, right? Where there's it's you're coming upon I don't know, it's like spring break, right? We all just came off spring break. Maybe there's a tournament over spring break and who knows what the concept would be, but I could see them throwing in some sweet graphics, a, a, a random kind of concept. It's certain stats or certain skills, who knows? But I think that'll stay around.
I think there's going to be something else in this hero duels. It seems like kind of how I'm reading it is the community reacted pretty negatively to DFK Arena, and they were kind of upset with like, all right, so now all of our heroes are going to be trusted to a third party site that we don't know anything other than this submission. And I think the DFK team is kind of, I'm curious if they're working with that same development team on this dueling system. Because Dreamer, when he was on stage, he even said the words DFK Arena when he was on stage.
Mm.
And I don't know if that was just a slip or if that was intentional. But that makes me to believe there's going to be something more than just the basic combat associated with this. Also, if you look at the graphic, I'm trying to find it. But if you look at the graphic under the player names, there's 3 cards under the player names, which makes me think there's almost like a Pokemon element to the game of you've got 3 or 4 heroes that you hold that you can decide what hero to send out there. And there's also in the image, excuse me. Apparently drink a little too much. But there's also elements and regions on the image as well.
Well,
Yeah,
I
that's a
for
good point.
one am stoked about any kind of Pokemon. A comparable setup. I think that's something that's a game that has been near and dear to my heart. Not very great from a competitive standpoint, but I've really enjoyed attempting to play that competitively. It feels like there's a really advanced rock paper scissors element, and I could see how like the type advantages or super effective, not very effective, effective. Battle damage could be applied to the different classes of heroes where thieves are really good at fighting warriors, but warriors are great at fighting pirates, and pirates are great at fighting wizards, and wizards are great at fighting so on and so forth. So I could see that having a very nice check and balance system.
Yeah, I can breathe again. But the two interesting things that I saw on there were the elements in the regions
Mm.
that up until this point we've had no utility with those on the hero cards.
No, we haven't.
But every single hero has an element, and they have a background, which I would call a region.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm kind of seeing with these hero duels is they're probably going to happen in a certain region. And I don't know if that's going to be a physical region based on where you are on the map. That'd be interesting too. But then there's going to be an element focus to it too. So I don't know how much of that information you're going to know before you head into the duel, or if it's all basically predetermined as well.
I really hope the element and the region, as you've called it, which I love, I think that that actually makes more sense than some of the other terms I've seen. I really hope they modify the skill tree. I hope that that is a hidden gem that no one is considering and is another, I don't know, 16, 17, 18th element to consider when purchasing and selling and leveling heroes. I think that would be phenomenal.
I agree. That would be really neat.
Everything in the genetics of the hero will be used, and I'm pretty sure that these devs are smart enough they're going to use it to its fullest. So I just foresee that being a thing. Like just imagine, if you've got a maybe it's like a dark knight and he's got like the dark magic, and it's a swamp. I don't know, whatever the region. Like those could all feed into like this black magic poison sort of system in the skill tree that could just be insane.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so interesting because we're so early that it's all just theory crafting of like how creative can our own minds get, and it's like, are we just being the creative ones, or are the devs actually thinking all these things?
Right.
All right. So JHW3D, you're in our chat, calling you out here. Do you wanna have a question, a voice question here? While we got you on Discord chat. All right, I kind of put you on the spot, so that's all right.
Chime in whenever.
Shoot us, yeah. Go ahead and chime in if you got something. We have another question from Ryan Time Strategy, and then maybe we'll do two more questions or so, and then kind of wrap it up for the night. He mentioned this is he knows his crowd here. Travel system is something that I'm interested in, like heroes of might and magic move spaces per turn, heroes that have travel bonuses based on home terrain. I think this is something that you forecasted. You're the first person I heard talking about it, Neindorf. Give us your thoughts on how do you think movement's going to exist in the game. Well, actually, how about Guy Kid? You go first. There was some information about how traveling might be affected that just came out from AVAX, right? Is that right?
Are you talking about the level gates?
Yeah. Is that the same as traveling, or am I kind of just
I think
getting
it's the
lost?
same as traveling. And I'm picturing like a World of Warcraft where it's like you've got your level 1 to 10 zones, you've got your level 11 to 20 zones, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know if it's going to be truly a hard gate where it's like you can't get into this area unless you're level 5 or unless you're level 12, or it's your success of being able to do anything will be extremely low if you travel in this area. Because when you're traveling along the road, imagine like events pop up where it's like, hey, you're getting attacked by goblins.
I can't
And
wait
if it's a,
for Oregon Trail DFK.
yeah, exactly. Oh my
Oh, yes.
God, the
Yeah.
classic. But imagine you're a level 3 wizard and you're getting attacked by a group of level 30 goblins.
Yeah. If
Like
I,
clearly you're outside your realm. You have no business being there. Like go back home, go back to the castle, go back to Sarandil where it's safe.
Yeah,
So
if my low level heroes could die of dysentery, and if I could take a pit stop to shoot bun buns, like that would be my Oregon Trail dream fulfilled right
uh,
there. Sorry for interrupting, Nidor.
no, you're good. I think what I'm hoping, uh, and this is, us coming fresh off of Perilous Journey here. I'm really hoping that they allow you to take your hero anywhere, but I'm hoping that if you decide to take your hero so far past their level that they have the opportunity to die
Oh, so like the
instead of being
goblin
like
fight
knocked
that
out.
Guy Kid was describing, it's like that's for keeps.
Yep. And I
Okay.
think if you're in your level zone, maybe you just get knocked out and you lose, so to speak. But if you're leaps and bounds above your level, like he said, no business being there, I think it should actually be able to result in hero death. I think that would be fascinating. And you people ask the question then, well, why would you do it, right? Why would I send my lower level hero too many levels ahead in order to try to do it? Well, it's the same thing for Perilous Journey,
Loot.
because the devs would put some carrot in front of us that make us want to try it, right? And we're gonna try it because that's just what we do.
Loot and
Imagine if
experience.
we've got 100 pieces of land that are visible right now. We've got 900 pieces of land in Sarandale that aren't visible right now. Imagine if there's land tournaments that go out across that it's like once you're the first person there, there's a 24-hour clock that now starts for other people to register for
Ooh,
the land
it's like
tournament.
capturing the flag.
Yeah,
Mm,
it's like, all right, send me out to that level 99 area. I don't care if I send my level 2 monk and he's got a 98% chance of dying. Like he's gonna go venture out into the vast abyss and try to go claim North America for me or whatever.
Oh, I love that. That's actually great. Like a
yeah.
captured flag approach or King of the Hill almost,
Yeah,
a
that could be
combination.
awesome. Cool. All right. Let's go jump over onto YouTube and see if we have any other questions. No new questions yet. I guess Discord chat chime in now. Otherwise, maybe we'll go to closing comment from you, Guy Kid first.
Just general closing thoughts.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm super excited for Crystalville next week. It's going to be really interesting. I'm curious to see with these new gardens opening up if there's going to be a place for you, a time period for you to deposit into these gardens before the emissions start. So say there's like a 12-hour window, so you don't have to be in there like at the exact right second, taking PTO off of work and things of that nature. But very excited for Crystalville next week and curious to see all that pans out.
Neindorf, what do you got as a closing thought?
Yeah, I think it's tough right now because there's just so much. I'm trying to decide, where do I want to focus my attention? We're actively doing some development here on the site. We're trying to make a better tool for everyone. I'm also trying to keep up with all this content from the devs in Barcelona. I think I'm really enjoying the some of the Discord chatter too. It's just, I'm fully consumed by this game right now, and I think that's something I'm looking forward to continuing on. So I appreciate everybody who's been part of this, and hope everybody keeps enjoying it just like I am.
Thank you for that. Yeah, huge thanks to our listeners out there. Really appreciate it. I'm gonna probably end with a sneak peek at one of the next episodes. So excited! I can't hide it, as they say. So, we have a very special guest. I hope coming on at the end of next week. He is traveling back from the AVAC summit. So. We have Bolan joining us, hopefully at the end of next week, right around the launch of Crystal Vale. So really excited to get someone from the DFK team on the website. I know that's a big milestone for us, and hopefully something for the team here to look forward to. He and Risen have a YouTube right now called, I think, Chaos Chat. Definitely go check that out on the DFK YouTube page. Lots of good information there. I know they had Frisky Fox on last week, so really excited and looking forward to have him on. Hopefully at the end of next week to time that with the launch of Crystal Vale. All right. Well, big thanks out there to all of our YouTube listeners and our Discord chat. We really appreciate you joining us tonight. And, this has been Raph and Guy Kid and Neindorf. So thank you very much for joining us and have a great night.